A young student came up to his professor after class. I looked him in the eye and asked him, "Why is a raindrop round when it falls to the earth? And why is an atom round? And why are the planets round?" The professor looked at the student and said, "The reason these things are round is because that's the most energy efficient shape that they can take." If anything, I think psychedelics, from the beginning, at least for me, teach us and give us the new perspective of this kind of roundness. Everything has there's particles everywhere. Nothing is really solid. It seems to be a theme across a lot of psychedelics, and it's an interesting question. Of course, science has an answer for that because it's the most energy efficient design at any given time. This roundness we see in the first time we take LSD, for example, a lot of us anyway. It appears in everything we see. We can suddenly see and we get lost in fabric and, a table, the grains inside a table, everything that we see around us on a microscopic level, all the way down to our atoms and our building blocks. Everything is round and spherical in nature. It's only the rigidity and the lines and right angles that we see with our own creations within this round universe. The ball of pollen that the bee takes and spreads around to pollinate the plants and the food we grow and everything else. The wheel is also present. If we look at a lot of religions and philosophies like the Tao Te Ching here, yin and yang, the wheel of life in Buddhism, the wheel of reincarnation. So this second trip, let me just say, greetings, fellow psychonauts. And I just want to talk briefly. This probably isn't going to be quite as long a video, because this wasn't a real lengthy experience for me. This is the second time I did salvia. And what I realized after doing it the first time, my experience in Duckland, as some of you saw, was that this experience just came over me so suddenly, and the jarring nature of this experience really was jarring in itself. It was a disturbing kind of thing with no kind of gradual introduction into it like most psychedelics. So with this second kind of experience that I had was on January 3rd, 2019. I'd say it was around 6 o'clock at night or something. And this was what I would call these low dosage little tests and experiments that I started doing. Is I would just take like a very small amount and put it in the bowl using my water pipe, my bong, which I would really recommend people do. Sorry, my cat is in a hyperactive state right now. So I was taking, small hits and very small bowls and just trying to find that little threshold, and what I would do is then take just a quick hit and, lay down and try to experience the effects, because you don't need very much salvia. It's good. It was at least good for me to just be able to put it in context, put some controls behind it. Maybe, what is it like to just take a small little hit or half a hit? When does the actual effect start to be kind of a transition or transitory event into this other place? So with this, the beginning, I put on this record, which is, I think, an essential record, at least for anybody who's into, the post-punk movement or even the punk movement. I think if you can look beyond what came after, you know, this is the guys from Joy Division formed New Order. This is Power, Corruption, and Lies. And I put on the first side, which is a song called Age of Consent. Beautiful artwork, by the way, on this album cover. I have the LP, so it's got a cool little kind of a design on the back that becomes black when you put this into place, so it's great. Again, you've got a round representation in the form of like a Trivial Pursuit circle on the back, which also looks like a radioactivity kind of warning label. Anyway, when I put on this record and I lay down on the couch, I remember the music. The music was just crystal clear. I could hear every instrument and every note was really concise, and you know, it was just like, even though the track moves fairly quickly and it's kind of an upbeat song in a lot of ways, the tone of it, I could hear like each individual phrase of the guitar, and you know, all the instruments just kind of like they were separate. It was really interesting, really cool. It was really pleasant, actually, and not jarring at all. It was like very gradual. And as I closed my eyes, you know, I could feel myself suspended kind of on this giant wheel. But it wasn't disruptive at all. It wasn't like the breaking through kind of wheel coming through the wall or something like that, which I've seen that kind of thing too. It was more like I was like just floating on this clock face, you know, and but my arms were, a lot of people have these weird muscular kind of reactions when they're on salvia. If you've ever watched somebody or kind of babysat someone, they'll suddenly, like, someone will lift, you know, they'll lift their arms or stretch out kind of. I think I've seen that kind of thing before, and I've seen it in videos where I made a video of myself, which there's a few on my channel actually. By the way, guys, if you like this video, you know, it'd be great if you subscribe to the channel. I'll try to keep these going and keep motivated to do these. And I am getting like a lot of views and stuff, more than when I was making drone videos. So I'm glad there's some interest, and I'm glad there's some support. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, so just spread the word. Yeah. And I'll try to keep making videos. But the effect of being on this giant wheel was actually like really pleasant, and I felt much more in control. And I had basically just, I always start with a little base of weed, you know, on the bottom of the bowl, and I'll just layer like a little bit of salvia, you know, pour it out on the counter a little bit first. Usually, like I say, 10x or 20x is the highest I've ever gone, really. Maybe someday I'll experiment with more. It's not something either a lot of people who have smoked salvia or who find it interesting and can be very life-changing, you know, I think, for some people, including myself. Yeah, I think there's just a general overusage of it and too high of a strength, you know, these extracts. You have to be careful with them, and it's not, again, it's not something I do every day, and certainly nobody who gets anything out of salvia, I don't think anybody would smoke this every day, because you don't really want to smoke it every day. It's not something that you just immediately want to come back to. So yeah, I'm gonna close up tonight because my cat, Killer Mike, is running all over the goddamn place. And so thank you guys, and I appreciate your support. And please subscribe and comment and like the videos if you like them, and if you're getting anything out of. I'd love to hear some feedback from other YouTubers too, and you know, any kind of advice or comments would be great. Also, other experiences that you guys might have had on Salvia that you've been able to kind of keep track of maybe and write down and reflect on later. So I will talk to you soon, and I'll talk to you on the flip side. Thanks again.